You're watching Herald Now. I'm Michael Morrow. Great to have you with us this morning. It's time to talk business with our partners 2 Degrees. Well, after more than 200 days with a stand-in, we now know who will be the new Reserve Bank Governor. Garth Bray joins me from Business Desk with some reaction to that news. So,
hi, Michael.
Anna Brayman, our first foreign governor, how's the reaction going down to that?
Unless you count, I think, a Brit in the 1930s or something when probably that was pretty standard. Look, I mean, the standard house reaction from most of the bank economists and people in that kind of role is, oh, well, it won't have an immediate policy implications. She doesn't start until December, and it's, you know, she's one of 6 votes on that Monetary Policy Committee. The remit and the data that they look at, that'll have more sway. So that's the sort of the conservative response. Looks like she's got the credentials. A few people saying, hey, it's good that we've got someone with some international expertise coming in there in the roundup that our founding editor did when he ran around. But a couple of people, one in particular, Rodney from Jones from Wigram Capital, saying, look, we're very exposed to China and to Southeast Asia in this part of the world. That's not a market, that's not an area that someone from Northern Europe would necessarily be closely connected to. That's a missed opportunity perhaps to have appointed somebody more local. You know, there were 3 out of the 11 on the shortlist were New Zealand candidates, and someone from home might have actually had a closer perspective on the issues that are more around us. But, you know, I guess the thing is she's coming from, Anna Brayman is one of the 5-person executive board at the Riksbank, which is their central bank. She's been there, I think, for about 5 years, got promoted in the last couple, so she could be there. She's had to deal with some pretty similar kind of economic conditions that we've had here.
Yeah, and so what did you draw out of that press conference yesterday? I mean, because she did come across as relatively, pretty professional, pretty impressive. One of the things she said is that she wanted to focus on transparency and, of course, independence. So what's the approach going to be here? Is she trying to wipe the slate clean from the previous scandals?
Yeah, well, you know, there's been obviously this constant kind of fog over the Reserve Bank really for the last 6 or 7 months really since Adrian Orr exited in sort of, I guess, less than straight up conditions or less than open discussion about why he'd left. It was for personal reasons. Then it turned out after people had teased it out under OIA that it wasn't. It was because there'd been a disagreement about funding the bank and how big that bill should be. And also, we more recently saw the departure of the chair of the Reserve Bank, Neil Quigley, as well. So, yeah, I guess ruling a bit of a line under it, probably ruling a bit of a line under that mood of the boardroom stuff for Nicola Willis yesterday. Nice to have a handy little announcement to put out there. And I suspect because the timing of this might have been related to the fact that Sweden's Reserve Bank cut their policy rate, which is what they call the OCR, on Tuesday. And I imagine that Anna Brayman would have had a decision in that from, I think, 2 to 1.75% is now their sort of baseline interest rate by comparison to deal with some similar sort of economic conditions. I mean, yeah, early days, obviously. She's got to get around. She's got to meet a lot of people in the New Zealand market.
She talked about wanting to sort of engage more with the public, right?
Not here today, though, unfortunately. So the chair is available when you'd like to come and join us here on set.
We did ask.
Yeah, I guess, I mean, early days in a market, you want to be careful that you're not, overstepping the mark. Probably she wants to spend some time. I think she finishes in her current job at the Riksbank in October, sort of next month, middle of next month. So nice long break, gets her summer down here. Plenty of time to read up and understand New Zealand better.
Yeah, no doubt. Bringing her whole family across as well, so it'll be a big change.
Yeah.
Savers starting to lose love with term deposits.
Yeah, well, that's what we're sort of picking up from a deep dive that Gregor Paul, one of our markets reporters, has done into the term deposit balances. They really soared up from about 100 billion to 160 billion Kiwis have put into term deposits in the last 3 years because obviously interest rates were sort of going through the roof, but those rates have now dropped. The average rate was, I think, about 6% or north of a 6% interest rate you'd expect on a term deposit. December 2022, it's now down more like the 3.7. And as Cameron Bagri, independent economist, points out, we're getting to the point where once you've accounted for inflation and you've accounted for the tax you'll pay on any interest, you're possibly going to see a negative real return at that rate. So there's all this money sitting there. Where is it likely to go? I mean, we're hearing the likes of Sharesies saying they cracked $1 billion in net deposits. That's new money coming in the year for the first time, and it's only August. So there's money flowing in there. They're saying, hey, look, we're seeing people under 40, which is most of who are on that platform, saying we want to chase a bit of growth. Others are saying, look, listed property assets. We should say this is not financial advice. You should obviously seek proper financial advice for your own particular circumstances. But it's kind of interesting that there's this money out there that's looking for a new home where it can get a better return.
And there's a new tool for builders to build greener. This sounds interesting. Tell me about it.
Yeah, you probably won't find it in a toolbox unless that's where you've put your phone, though. It's an online tool that Brands has developed in association with Master Builders and the Institute of Architects, and it's designed to work out how much embedded carbon is in the building products. That's like its whole life cycle. How much carbon it created from mining the materials through to making the thing, what its disposal is, how long it'll last. The idea being that you can then work out for sure, if you look at this database, how green is that building? Is someone making a green claim really able to back it up? And if you're a big, listed retirement developer that's building a stack of places and you have to disclose your carbon disclosures, can you be sure you're getting it right? So, interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. Not one that Donald Trump would be that keen on, no doubt.
Maybe maybe for the escalator, though, you can work out how much that trip really cost.
Yeah, totally. Garth Bray, thanks for joining us in the studio this morning. That's Garth Bray from Business Desk, and we talk business every day with our partners, 2 Degrees. Mount Mauganui's Bay Oval is set to...